Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, like I said, my name is Shanara Hughes, and I am the program manager for the Ticket to Work program with Career Source Central Florida. And this is Allison Gallup, and she is the disability navigator with Career Source Flagler Volusia. And so what we're going to do today, we're going to give you information about the Ticket to Work program, and that program is to assist individuals with disabilities who are ready for employment, who are ready to go to work. And so that's what we'll do today. Allison, you can go ahead and start. So what we're going to go over today in my presentation is what the Ticket to Work program is, what it's all about, what it entails, what a ticket actually looks like, what an employment network is. An employment network is the first step in your journey for employment through the Ticket to Work process. Creating your team of collaborators, your support system, which are your employment networks, your WIPA programs, the PABS programs, and vocational rehabilitation usually is where individuals start as well. A la carte services, what you want to do is do your homework. Make sure you're choosing a provider who best suits your individual needs, because there are a lot of employment networks out there that offer different services, different specialized services, so you want to make sure you're doing your homework when you're looking for those employment networks. Locate a one-stop career center. Career Source Florida is the workforce system for the state of Florida, and any region that you're in, you can find a Career Source office, and it's based on the region that you're in. That's why they're different locations names. And then finally, assigning your ticket. Once you assign your ticket, then your employment journey begins. Okay, so what is Ticket to Work? Ticket to Work supports career development for people ages 18 through 64 who receive Social Security disability benefits, which is SSI and SSDI, and want to go to work. The Ticket to Work program was started by the Social Security Administration, like I said, to help individuals and to give them those support services that they need for employment when they're ready to either start their career or get back into the workforce after a long gap in employment because of their disability. The program is free and voluntary. It's not required if you want to go back to work that you have to enroll in a Ticket to Work program or with an EN. It's just some more services that will help you with your journey, so you won't have to do it alone. This is a sample of the ticket. It's not actually a ticket that you're going to take with you to an employment network and say, here's my ticket. I want to be in the Ticket to Work program. It's really just a letter that Social Security sends beneficiaries that lets them know a little bit of information about the Ticket to Work program, what the Ticket to Work program entails, what support services are available for you, and what you can do to get your ticket assigned. It also lets you know that you are eligible for the Ticket to Work program, because not each or every beneficiary is eligible for the program. Next slide, please. So employment networks. Employment networks, they're public or private organizations. They contract with Social Security to provide these services to the beneficiaries. Some ENs provide services to their local communities. Some ENs provide services to several states, multiple states, and some ENs are nationwide. They provide services to anyone in the nation. So you can find services or ENs that provide services virtually, in person, over the phone, however you need to communicate with that EN, make sure you find one that provides those services in that way that you need to communicate. And these are some of the basic services that most ENs provide, which is career planning. Career planning is important. It's really the #1 service that ENs provide, because you will work with the employment network to develop a plan, a career plan for your road back to employment. Job leads and job placements. Not all ENs will give you job leads and job placements. Some ENs focus more on the support services side of employment, getting you ready and preparing you for employment. Other employment networks, they do provide job leads and interactions with employers for individuals. ongoing support, employment support. So once you find employment, ENs do provide ongoing support to help you keep and maintain that employment as well. And benefits counseling. Some employment networks provide benefits counseling, others do not. Others will refer you out to a WIPA program, and a WIPA program gives you benefits counseling in more detail. They give you more detailed information as far as a complete analysis of how employment will affect you and all of your benefits that you receive, not just your disability, Social Security benefits, but maybe your health care benefits, any housing, veterans benefits, anything like that that you have. And we'll talk about that a little later. Now, workforce EN services. CareerSource offers workforce ENs. CareerSource Flagler, Volusia, and CareerSource Central Florida, we are actually workforce ENs. So what we do, we have the array of the workforce system to assist you with your employment. As opposed to other ENs, any services that the CareerSource or the workforce boards offer, we provide those services for you. So it can be training. We provide training programs or assistance to go to training programs, special programs for youth in transition, and also special programs for veterans. We have 24 regions throughout the state of Florida, and if you go to floridajobs.org, you can find the information for whichever region is closest to you. And like I was telling someone earlier, this PowerPoint will be on the Family Cafe information once it's all over, because they're going to put all the PowerPoints there. So if you want that information, you can find it there. Mm-hmm. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, that is specialized to workforce services because it's an actual federal mandate that workforce boards provide these services to individuals, and those services include training assistance that's available, and we will provide training in post-secondary institutions to help you enter work experience activities or even just general training. We provide long-term training such as LPN courses, CNC manufacturing courses, or short-term training such as CDL licenses or anything like that, anything short-term we can provide. And it's different throughout the state of Florida. Each region has different specializing services that they offer, so you want to make sure you check with your region to see what type of trainings that they offer that will benefit you if you're interested in that. Vocational rehabilitation. I'm sure everybody in here is familiar with vocational rehabilitation and the services that they provide. Vocational rehabilitation is an actual EN as well, and if you are working with vocational rehabilitation, they will automatically assign your ticket. You may not be aware that your ticket is assigned or that you even have a ticket, but vocational rehabilitation is. But if you are working with vocational rehabilitation and you're not sure, just make sure you ask them. But like I said, they are an EN and they automatically assign your ticket. Vocational rehabilitation, when you're working with vocational rehabilitation, you're working with them short term or however long you're in it with your plan, however long they assign you for whatever plan, vocational plan, employment plan, or whatever plan that you have with vocational rehab. And then once that plan is done, their services end. And once their service is in, you can choose to work with another EN through vocational rehabilitation, which is their Partnership Plus program, and we are actually a part of the Partnership Plus program. So if you are working with vocational rehab and you find a job and you want to continue the EN services, or you're completing your vocational assessments or whatever with vocational rehab and you want to now go for employment and you need an EN, we work with vocational rehab to help you with those ongoing services after they're finished. So if you are working with vocational rehab right now and you're interested in the Partnership Plus program, just get with your counselor and they can tell you what agencies they work with in the Partnership program. And again, because vocational rehabilitation is statewide, they have different ENs that they work with throughout the region. So the same regions don't work with the same agencies. So again, you want to make sure that you contact them in your region to see what agencies that they are working with. Now, like I talked about earlier, The WIPA projects, Community Work Incentive, Counseling, Work Incentive Planning and Assistance, these are the items that they will assist you with, and that is to enable beneficiaries with disabilities to receive accurate information. Because once you start working, you may hear from a friend or a relative, well, I started working and my benefits stopped. But everybody's situation is totally different, so you don't want to depend on the information that you're getting from someone else based on their situation. So that's why you want to make sure you contact a WIPA project so they can give you accurate information that's specific to you and specialized only for you. They provide in-depth counseling about your benefits. They conduct outreach efforts to beneficiaries of SSI and SSDI who are potentially eligible to participate in federal or state work incentives programs. So when you are working, or when you start, or when you feel like you want to start working, there are incentives out there that will increase your income, your countable income, that will help you keep your benefits a little longer. And the WIPA project can go into detail and give you all the information about all the incentives that are available to you, and they're different based on what type of disability you receive. It's either SSI or SSDI. Those programs are totally separate, and they can give you all that information. They work in cooperation with federal, state, and private agencies, nonprofit organizations that serve SSI and SSDI beneficiaries with disabilities. And like I said, most ENs, and that's what they're speaking of here, most ENs will have the information for the WIPA projects and give you a referral to the WIPA projects because they don't go in as much detail as the WIPA projects do based on the benefits that you receive. And they prepare individualized documents, information gathering, benefits verification, in-depth 10-page benefits summary and analysis report. And this is what I was talking about, how in-depth they go based on the benefits that you receive. And then any beneficiary issues that you're having based on the benefits that you receive, whether it's your disability benefits, housing, veterans, like I said, they can help you resolve those issues with the information that they have access to. Next. Oh, educate client on individual work incentives to promote work. And like I was saying, the incentives that are available to you based on the disabilities program that you're on, SSI or SSDI, they can give you information about that to help you make that final decision about if working is going to be more beneficial for you. Now, the PABS program, Protection and Advocacy for Beneficiaries of Social Security, they deal with the legal aspects of disability. Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just a question. Because you keep mentioning the SSDI and the SSI.
Yes.
If it's like DAC, if it's just Social Security, do they qualify?
If it's disability, if it's based on a disability, yes.
It's based on the disability.
Yes. So, PABS, they can help you navigate, well, this is the employment-related concerns that they can assist you with, navigating organizations and services to support your efforts to work and protect your rights, such as appealing decisions of Vocational Rehabilitation Agency or an EN. So if you're having issues with vocational rehabilitation or the EN that you decided to work with and you're just not seeing eye to eye, or they're not giving you the supports and services that you need, you can call the PABS and they can assist you with working those issues out. Requesting reasonable accommodations in your workplace, college classes, training courses, and licensing programs. So if you're working with your EN and you decided to take a training program, but the school that you decided to go to, they don't have the accommodations you need for you to be successful in that program, you can call the PABS and they can work with you in that school to make sure that they're giving you what's required by law and what you need to have to be successful in their programs. And any other disability-related legal issues that you have, they can give you the supports that you need there. Now, the next slide. This comes straight from Social Security. Social Security wants to make sure every beneficiary understands the Ticket to Work program and that it's here to assist you and help you to become more financially independent and self-independent. So it's possible to work and still retain eligibility for your cash benefits. A lot of people think that if they get a job, okay, I start work Monday, next week my benefits are going to be cut off. Rarely does it work like that. It rarely works like that. So just to let you know that you can still work and receive eligibility for your cash benefits. It's possible to work even full-time and keep Medicaid and or Medicare in almost every case. And what I found working with the individuals that I work with, that is the number one concern, my health care benefits. Am I going to lose my health care benefits? No, you will not. Once you start working, it usually takes about 7 years before your medical benefits are even affected. So make sure that that's not a reason why you don't want to go to work, because you don't want to lose those health care benefits that are so important to you. It's possible to work and come out ahead financially even if benefits are reduced or ceased, because the reason why your benefits would be reduced or ceased is because the income that you're making. So the more income that you make, the less benefits you receive. But you're not losing out financially either way, because the income that you're receiving is taking place of those benefits that you're receiving. And it's possible to get benefits back again if lost due to employment. Social Security has the expedited reinstatement of benefits. And what that means is if you're working and you lose your eligibility for cash payment, not your eligibility for disability, but your eligibility for cash payments, meaning your cash payment has stopped. If for some reason you lose your employment and you need to get back on your cash payments, you just contact Social Security, let them know that you're not working anymore and you want to restart your benefits. What they'll do is they have a grace period. Well, they'll give you your disability payments for 3 months while you're providing them the information that you still have the disabling condition that you had when you were on the disability. And once they confirm that information, then your payments will start right back up. So any questions? Does anybody have any questions about the Ticket to Work program? Yes, ma'am. Let's start with you. Okay, that's fine.
The Ticket to Work, once it's assigned, can it be reassigned? Does it ever expire?
It can be reassigned. So let's say you're working with an employment network. They're not doing anything for me. I'm not getting anything from them. I want to unassign my ticket. Yes, you can unassign your ticket from that agency and go to a new agency. But if you're totally satisfied with the employment network that you're working with, then the only way that your ticket will be terminated or unassigned or advantage is if you reach the income eligibility where you're no longer eligible for disability at all, or you age out.
And then you mentioned the Partnership Plus program.
Yes.
How does the Medicaid waiver fall into that Partnership Plus program as far as, because I was always taught that once VR exhausted all of theirs, then they qualify for waiver. But it sounds to me like there's another option.
No, the Partnership Plus is if you want to more services as far as employment is concerned once you're finished with VR.
And that's it's always been explained to me that once VR has finished those employment services, that the waiver would pick up where VR left off, because waiver doesn't do follow-along. So does that Partnership Plus then act as a follow-along service?
Yes, it's a follow-along
So
service.
that would be an additional funding source beside the waiver
The additional funding source for,
for continued employment services like job coaching?
it depends on the end and what services that they provide, the end that you decide to.
I'm talking funding though, I'm not talking about the employment network, I'm talking about funding sources.
Fund
Considered a funding source?
the Partnership Plus program, the ends.
To continue like,
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not.
I just wanted to clarify, because I thought if there was a funding source, I wasn't aware of.
No, it's not a funding source. Yes, sir.
The ticket to work, once you stop working with it, is that good for 1 year and your income is excluded from counting it?
Is the Ticket to Work good for 1 year?
Yeah, is it good for 1 year or is far really good for 1 year as it relates?
The Ticket to Work, there's no time limit on the Ticket to Work program.
So for the first year, you could
You can have your ticket assigned 5, 6, 7, 10 years. It just totally depends on you.
But are your benefits reduced in the first year based on how much income?
The ticket to work and your benefits being reduced have nothing to do with each other. Your benefits are reduced based on the amount of income that you earn. From the work, yes. Mm-hmm.
So is that reduced within the first year, or is it like
No. It depends on the type of disability you receive as far as what incentives you receive. I think you're speaking of the trial work period, which is for individuals who receive SSDI. And that first year of work, if you're receiving SSDI, the trial work period, your benefits are not they're not messed with at all. Your benefits stay the same for that whole year.
that doesn't apply to the SS?
It doesn't apply to SSI.
Is there a similar program?
No, because SSI is a needs-based program. Once your income rises, that means your needs, yeah, exactly. It's like a teeter-totter, exactly.
Can you repeat the questions? A lot of times we have no idea what they're answering.
Oh, I'm sorry. He asked if he was confused about the 12, the year. If once you work, does the Ticket to Work program end after the year? But it's the trial work period that's available through individuals who receive SSDI. Like I told you earlier, depending on which disability program you're in, you receive different incentives. And the trial work period is for individuals who receive SSDI. And for the first 12 months, your benefits are not affected at all as long as you don't go over the trial work level amount. Yes, ma'am.
Well, would an individual lose their benefits if they quit the job versus being fired?
Lose their disability benefits?
Yeah, or you had said it's possible to get your benefits back if you lose your employment.
No.
Loses it because he can't do it, he quit.
No, it's not like unemployment. So it has nothing to do with if you quit or if you lose your job or nothing like that, because it's totally based on your disability. Your disability is the same whether you quit or whether you fire, it doesn't matter. Okay? Any more questions about the Ticket to Work program? Yes, sir.
If a person is in college
Mm-hmm.
and if they're doing some part-time work and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point when they finish the studies, at some point you're going to stop even if you don't get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, they start working full-time,
Okay.
but the income is not much. So is that like, let's say the person is 28, 30 years old, or
Mm-hmm.
will they still be eligible for some kind of assistance?
For the Ticket to Work program or disability assistance? Like I said, it depends on the amount of income. No matter how old you are, no matter if you're in school or out of school, it depends on the amount of income that you're receiving. As long as you're still, they still have the disabling condition, they're eligible for disability benefits. But the amount of disability that they receive can alter based on the amount of income that they receive.
So it can be done when they're in college?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to introduce my colleague Allison, and she's going to talk about the employment piece of Ticket to Work.
Now, she did it. You want to do, yeah. How about that, guys? What's on the horizon? Are y'all ready for the future and what it looks like? Isn't it kind of scary? A lot of people have been dealing with loss of jobs, and here we are trying to get employment. Technology is driving this train. It's changing the way we provide services. Some of our services are provided virtually. One of the things that we would like for you to keep in mind is every aspect of employment touches technology, at least in one place. So understanding that you got to keep up with the technology that's coming out is essential. Now, what do you do when you're looking for a job, you can't find one because you lack experience? What's coming down? Volunteering. Did you know you could put that on your resume as work experience so you can get the experience that you need? As a matter of fact, one of my first jobs that I ever had was because I was volunteering. They liked the work that I did, and they said, hey, we want to hire you. And here I am. You have educational options. When we talk about internships, we're talking concentrate on things like technology. We provide short-term training, grants, and scholarships. That's money that does not have to be paid back. It's not the same as a loan. Scholarships and grants, you do not have to pay them back. The other thing, showcase your personal growth. Why? Because employers don't want you sitting around waiting for something to happen. And you can showcase that you're making things happen by taking courses online. And I'm going to show you a place today where you can do that. Why? They're at no cost to you. And you can put that on your resume as well. Identify your skills for coping. We're all under a lot of stress, right? Trying to keep a balance of all that, that's very important to do. We provide customer-driven support services. That means that the individual that comes to us is not about me. It's about them, what they want. I do not try to influence them one way or the other. They tell me what we want to do, and I'm going to help them get there. And we're going to plan it out. We're going to break it down and develop goals with target dates, not deadlines. Why? Because we're learning with them. At the same time, we're setting these goals. Sometimes things don't work out exactly as we plan. So we're going to have to step back and amend the plan. And that's okay. One of the top things that I recommend an individual do is look for an employer they want to work for, not a job. You know, when you're looking for a job, you feel a little bit more victimized because you send out that resume, nobody even lets you know they read it. Whereas if you identify an employer that you want to work for, you're initiating a relationship. Maybe you could volunteer there. Maybe that employer didn't know they needed you, and you can look at processes and let them know, hey, did you know I could fill that if that was a job? You never know. Sometimes employers don't realize they need to hire help. And maybe if you can figure out how you're the best person for that job, they're going to hire you. It happens all the time. Build a circle of support. As you go through this process, my recommendation is you look at all the different organizations and people who are, working on your behalf. Think about having them at least at a table somewhere once in a while where you talk about what your goals are, and it's represented at that table. And those are things you can do on an individual basis. You don't have to do it with us necessarily. I think that one. But to be able to sit down at a table with everyone who's involved to figure out who's doing what and where the gaps are so we can fill those gaps. Networking. Do you guys know about networking? We used to say it's not what you know, it's who you know. Not anymore. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Here's the extra piece. Who knows you? Employers are still wanting to hire individuals who they know or have been vetted by a friend or family member. So keep that in mind. You might be surprised how your network can assist you in finding a job. You just have to let people know that you're looking for one. And that would be true for anyone looking for a job, by the way. Now, we're going to talk about some of the things that we do as an EN, and one of them is to assist individuals with their resumes. I come from a background where we said that if I can do it, I should do it. I'm not going to have somebody else do something for me that I can do, because that's empowering. So from that angle, we take a look at, okay, so here's a resume. What have you got in terms of tasks that can assist you in developing a resume? Are you guys familiar with ONET? Underneath the Department of Labor, they have the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I believe last month, if I'm not correct, I think it was 166,000. No? Was it? Oh, you don't know. 166,000 jobs were created last month. These are the guys that do that. They report that. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, right under the Department of Labor. They keep stats on all the jobs created and lost in the United States. The workforce people report this information to them. So, developing your resume. Have you guys ever used the occupational network? Employers use ONET to develop their job descriptions. So we say, well, we could use that to develop the resume. Some employers are using applicant tracking systems. Are you familiar with that? So these applicant tracking systems or scanners are looking for keywords in the resume itself. So if you go to ONET, you may be picking up on some of those keywords without even realizing it. Can we go live? Are we able? It's not. Oh, that's what she was saying no about. I wanted to take you live. We've had issues. If I took you live, you would be able to see. In the upper right-hand column there, where it says occupational quick search, you could put in, like, she didn't like the title, waiter and waitress. And it gives you the tasks list of all the things a waiter or waitress would do within that occupation. So you could go through and select the ones that you actually did in that job and use those in what we call the bullet section. You guys familiar with that? The area where you put the tasks on your resume. Yep. Oh boy. I told you we've been having problems. It's not moving, not advancing. Help. Help. I think he left us. The PowerPoint is not advancing. Can you just use the key? Like, try that? No. Hang on. So, well, for a practical application, Employ Florida is considered the premier job search engine for the state of Florida. You can find any job in the state of Florida if it's in that database. Anything that's advertised. If it's out there on the internet, it's pulling it in to the Employ Florida system. So you can live in Jacksonville and look for a job in Tampa. You can also utilize Employ Florida to create your resume. You can do like the history, and it automatically populates into a resume. You can download or upload a resume in the system. You can do a job search. You can do it based on the zip code that you live in or an area like a metropolitan area. You could do by mileage, which I always recommend. If you'd be interested in traveling up to, one of them is 25 miles, and I say to people, well, what if the perfect job was at 26? Do you know that's not going to pull that for you? So go to 50. If you're willing to travel and you have good transportation, why not see what's available out there?
Is that employflorida.com?
Employflorida.com, yes. There's also education and training. Remember I said there are free online courses? In the Employ Florida site, it's in the, let me see if I can remember. Online learning, yes, thank you. Under the educational services. And there's a program in there called Allison, A-L-I-S-O-N. And it has, I'm sure, hundreds now of courses that are available to you online. And we were talking earlier, she said, remember to tell them about technology. These courses you can take online for free. One of the best ones you can do is Excel. You're going to see a spreadsheet somewhere in the workday. And analysts are getting paid pretty good these days. So, A-L-I-S-O-N, I believe it is, Allison.com. It's not related to that. This is a website that you can go to. You should be able to access it from any computer with internet. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to show you, because a lot of people get confused about the fact that they have a resume. Even Employ Florida generally has the reverse chronological style, and you're probably most familiar with that because that's what we used to do, right? A long time ago, we indicated our employment, whether it was relevant to a job that we were applying for or not, right? These days, we have an opportunity to use a tool like a resume to help us find jobs specific to that job, even if it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Why? Because employers want to know you have skills, actually. The second thing they want in a candidate is personality. But that you get to show them in your interview. But here, you're just a piece of paper. So you want to make sure that the skills that you're relating on your resume are relevant to a job you're applying for. If 5 years ago you were doing painting and you're looking for an IT job, you certainly can put that on your resume, but you're going to want to put it after the relevant skill that you're trying to apply for. You follow me? Yep, cool. So as you can see, this one is skills-based, problem solving. That's not necessarily something that you have to do for a job. You follow me? Just because you haven't worked formally doesn't mean you don't have skills. You could have skills from babysitting or lawn care. You're helping somebody out. You're helping them, let's say, with day-to-day activities. You could put that on a resume. Those are skills. You follow me? Just because you didn't have a formal job doesn't mean you don't have skills. You have skills. You're learning skills all the time. You follow that? So definitely put it on your resume. People, leadership skills, communication, that's a big one too, especially writing. So these are called functional or a combination functional. Now, the combination functional is both. It indicates your skills first, but then you can indicate your employment if that's not a problem. A lot of people, if they have gaps in their employment history, they don't even need to put the dates on there. You just leave them off. You indicate your skills, and that's good to go. The one thing you need to know about a resume is this. The test of whether it's a good one or not is, are you getting interviews? If you're getting interviews, it's doing its job, because that's your marketing tool. If you're not, you might want to tweak it. There are a lot of, even just for people in general, you can go to our websites, and we have all kinds of workshops online. You can take those. They're not at any cost to you. They show you how to put together a resume. Yes, ma'am?
What is the trend for length of resumes these days?
The trend? We recommend that you have no more than 2 pages. The hard and fast rule is 1 page, but if you have relevant experience and education, you can have a 2-page resume.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. The power of stories. I'm going to tell you a story. Y'all ready? You ready? There once was a little boy who was different. He had yellow skin and a big round belly. You see, he was born with a liver disease. One day, the little yellow boy went with his mother and older sister to tour an open room elementary school he was scheduled to take the next fall. An open room elementary school is one in which it has no interior walls, so you can literally see from one end of the school to the other. As they went along, unbeknownst to him, the little yellow boy began to attract a lot of attention. The children were interested. Some of them, though, pointed and laughed. His sister, seeing this, scurried to his side as if to say, "I will not let you hurt him. I will not let you hurt my brother. He's a good boy. He loves grilled cheese sandwiches, apple juice, his red tricycle, and his cool ray sunglasses." Sadly, there wasn't enough time. So she took him by the hand, and they completed the tour. 2 weeks shy of his 6th birthday, the little yellow boy passed from this life. He would never attend that school. But I have to tell you, that moment in that little girl's life was a deciding moment. You see, that was the day I became an advocate. Everybody in here has a story. Now, if I was applying for a job, you know what I'd do? I'd tell that story. Have a story. You're unique. There's stuff that goes on in your world. An employer, when they hear you tell a story, they'll remember that. Just like when you leave here, you're going to remember that story. It's just how we are. Why? Because you want to be memorable. You want to be memorable because that's how you get a job. It means you're thinking how life works. It's just incredible. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through all the things that I've been through, right? And I can tell you, it's hard working a full-time job with a disability, but I do it. And if I can do it, I can bring hope to other people. And isn't that the point? And I tell people, you know, you interview people all the time, you just don't pay attention, right? Because you just interviewed me. Right? So an interview is an interview is an interview until you get to you're hired. And if you take that approach, it's not as dismal as when you spend all of your energy looking for a job and don't get one and wonder, what's wrong with me? And this is for anybody, really. Whether you have a disability or not, you could take this advice, because it's good, I promise. It takes the stress out of it. You meet somebody in the grocery store. Well, that's an interview, right? You're assessing. Oh, well, they're in this type of industry. Oh, because we always have. One of the first things you ask people when you meet them is, oh, what do you do? Right? It's a very interesting question. Well, employers are using something called behavior-based interviews, which is basically why I told you that story, because past behavior indicates future behavior. Because we're creatures of habit. That's why. So if you're a success in the past, that's an indicator of what you're going to be able to do for that employer in the future. And they take note in that, right? Because that's why you're there, and that's why they want to hire you. Success. What we do as an EN is we provide what we call mock interviews. I'll take somebody who maybe they haven't interviewed before, it doesn't matter, or they've had a few opportunities, and I'll sit down with them or have somebody who they don't know sit with them and interview them as a real interview, and we videotape it to get their baseline. Then we put them through like the workshop to learn how to interview and the points that they need to pay attention to, and watching how their energy is and paying attention to how they're seated and all that great stuff. And then we do another video. And when I told you we've had problems because I had a video that I wanted to show you, because it is amazing, the before and after. It was a gentleman, he was applying for a job at Home Depot. You know, he didn't get that one though. But he was talking to an employer about, you know, his life and how he was interested in, you know, flying drones, but he needed to get a license to do that. Did you guys know that? You have to have a pilot's license to fly a drone? I didn't know that. Isn't that cool? So he's working on that. But in the meantime, this gentleman was like, well, are you working now? And he said no, and he says, well, come on over to the store, I'll give you a job. You never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. So don't get discouraged. A miracle's on the way. These are some of the top skills. Of course, you know about communication. I think sometimes people communicate around each other. I was taking care of one of my nieces. She was in her last year of high school. And I told her, you know, I work full time and I'm pretty busy. But when you're in my household, this is what I want to do for you. I'm going to give you a key word. And that means that if something ever occurs where either emotionally, physically, whatever, you need me, you use that word. Because you know how sometimes we're like, no, I'm okay, it's all right, and things start building and building until it gets too much. So when she said that word, boom, I'm there. That's how I communicate with her. Why? Because she's important. And if she were to say that word, that meant there's something very important for me to do to help her through. Okay? Communication is key, regardless. If it's interpersonal or on the job, learning how to communicate what you need is vital. Prioritization, putting things on a list and then figuring out what needs to be done today, what can wait until later. Taking the initiative, that's another important one to employers. Are you willing to fill in the gaps We're doing more with less, you'll probably hear. And the relationship building, the coaching. I'm going to talk about a support group that we're going to be presenting today as well. And then resilience and being open to change. You have to open your mind to it. You can't say no, no, no. Because change is coming. You know that, right? So open your mind and your heart to it. It's called the Empowerment Group. It's a peer-to-peer support group that we're going to try and initiate here. Confidentiality is strict. There's nothing that is said in that group that can go outside of that group. The first phase of the group, they read through all the articles of empowerment, and then after that, we have an educational segment, and I'll demonstrate that to you now. I don't know if you guys want to read through with me, but this is really cool, or I'll read it, whatever, but if you want to read with me, please feel free. The 12 articles of empowerment. 1, voice. We make our needs known by expressing our concern. Self-esteem. We express ourselves to show how much we like ourselves. Control. We take responsibility for our actions and do not allow ourselves to be victimized. Assertiveness. We channel negative circumstances into positive outcomes. Proactive. We identify, plan, and move toward attainment of a stated goal. Balance. We strive to achieve balance and serenity in our lives. Positive. We focus on our personal strengths and abilities and on the gifts that our disabilities offer. Yes, disabilities offer a lot of gifts. I believe, and I will tell you this, that I'm a better person because of my disability. Now, if you would have asked me, hey, do you want a disability? I would have passed. But I got to tell you, I'm so much better for having it, really and truly. Example, we affirm life by implementing changes. We are what we are by doing what we do. Stories, we share our experience to give hope to others. Independence, we do as much as we can for ourselves. Persistence, we pursue our dreams with vigor without ever giving up. 12, advocacy. We, the empowerment group, resolve to implement a plan of action either in written or oral format, which reflects the 12 articles of empowerment. How about that? Isn't that amazing? One of the things that we're seeing is, we talk about the lack of experience and how do you get that experience if you're not working is a very difficult thing. Well, we want employers to understand that you have skills that you can transfer from one industry to another. Remember that waitress or waiter, sales skills are transferable. Wait, what? Did I just say sales? Yeah. How are they getting sales? Anybody? Upselling, absolutely. So that's a sales skill. You can translate that into sales. How about customer service? A waiter or waitress performs customer service all day, every day, right? Because you want that business to come back, right? Time and time again. They're coming in. They're asking for that waitress because she took real good care of them. Customer service. The other thing is disclosure. People ask me all the time, should I tell? You know, I have a disability? Oh, what if they find out? They gonna let me go? again, that's one reason I would say to you, find an employer you want to work for, because maybe they don't have a problem with you having a disability, and that's fine. Because if you're that afraid of disclosing you have a disability, it might become a problem. Now, would I tell somebody they should or shouldn't disclose? No, indeed, I would not. That's totally up to them. I can't tell you because every situation is different. But I would say, if you believe your disability is going to impact you in the day-to-day where you work, I would disclose up front. Personally, that's what I would do. Because maybe I don't want to work for somebody who doesn't want me there. At any rate, if you do need an accommodation, one resource that I've listed up there is JAN, Job Accommodation Network. They can tell you, how to implement. They give advice on stuff all the time. If you're stuck and you're trying to figure out an accommodation, give them a call. They can even talk to the employer. Now here at the end, at some point in time, I started thinking, it is awful that a person with a disability has to decide whether or not to disclose that they have one. So I think it would be really cool if we didn't have to worry about that. But in the meantime, when you're developing your resume and you're thinking, well, I can't do that piece because maybe it requires you to lift 75 pounds and you can't do that, but you can do all the other things, why can't we just carve that out so that you can get hired? I understand a lot of employers think, well, it's just something that's not in the budget. I understand that. But I think we can get to a point where jobs are more specific to the skill and less to you have to be well-rounded to have the job. You follow me? So I'm proposing that you all join me whenever you get back home to start talking about job carving. Let's see where it takes us. Because it's an idea that maybe we need to look at. Carving out a job specifically for that individual in the strengths that they have. Do you know what kind of workforce you would have if you didn't have to do the mundane things that you don't like to do? Think about it, even in your own jobs. I don't like doing the paperwork, but I'm good with people. Put me with the people all day long. Get somebody else to do that paperwork. That's an engaged workforce right there. You can't wait to get up and go to your job because you're doing what you love. Just think about it. Think about sharing that. It's a win-win for me, though. Everybody's happy. The employer's happy because, hey, look at all the people you're bringing in. The paperwork gets done by somebody that likes doing paperwork. And we're all happy, and we're doing good. My final recommendation is journaling. Don't talk to her about that because she knows she should do it, but hasn't yet. So I'm picking on her. Thank you. Journaling helps you get out the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions. It's like, actually, you're kind of your own therapist. It really does work. Now, if you have trouble writing, and I mean like writing it out necessarily, maybe you draw into a journal. Maybe what you're drawing reflects the way that you feel. But get that out on paper, because the stuff that stays in here, that doesn't come out until you get frustrated, and then you have behavioral issues and problems down the line. So this is a great way to get all that stuff out, to figure out how you feel about the things that you're going through. It reinforces that you matter, because you do. All right, anybody have any questions? Questions for me? No? Nobody? Thank you. You're going to remember that story, though. I promise. Okay, we're good. You guys have a great day. Thank you for coming. If you see that information, Family Cafe, my contact information if you want more information about like the empowerment group and that kind of thing. It hasn't blown up quite yet, but it's on the way, so definitely keep me in mind. Yes, the email's on that too. And the best way to get a hold of me is actually